This is Daruka in Oslo, Norway. You're listening to I Love This, You Should Too with Indy, Randhawa and Samantha Heath.
Welcome and happy Halloween out there. My name is Indy Randhawa, and here's Sammy.
No.
And with me is Samantha Heath.
Hi.
Welcome to I Love This, You Should Too, and welcome to the Overlook Hotel. As we go through the labyrinth of corridors, maybe it's representative of the human mind, maybe it's a labyrinth and there's a minotaur in there, who knows? The only thing we know is there's always more questions at the Overlook.
Wow.
That was my little intro about The Shining. Oh, so this is a podcast. It's called I Love This, You Should Too. We're talking about The Shining this week. How it works is Samantha had never seen The Shining. I forced her to watch it at not gunpoint, at like remote control point. I just suggested, and you were like, yeah, cool. So before we get into our discussion about the 1980 Stanley Kubrick film, The Shining, should we talk about what we're drinking tonight?
Yes, I have a flight of drinks right now.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about the beer we're drinking.
Yes.
So we are drinking one of our new home brews, which we brewed in honor of this year's hotel-themed Halloween party, and also the fact that we're watching The Shining, and that we are being the Shining twins. So, Indy, what's it called?
It's called Red Rum Amber Ale. It's pretty tasty. So before The Shining, did you know that red rum was murder backwards?
No, I did not.
That's such a good reveal. Oh, I can't believe you didn't know that. That's awesome.
No, I might have even gasped a little bit.
So for all of these episodes, when we go in depth into a movie, it is a spoiler zone. We're going to be spoiling this movie.
So much spoil.
Also, it's been out since 1980, so just go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Pause now.
Yeah.
Go watch.
And also, we might spoil the novel as well, which has been out longer than that, so, just read it.
Just read it. And I feel like you'll be fine if you read it.
So I've read the novel. I don't think we'll talk about it much, but I think I'll bring it up a few times because it's important where Kubrick would delineate from the novel, how he's different. The choices that he makes kind of make them important choices, I think.
I'm interested to hear what is different in the novel.
So much, but I'll only talk about a couple of them.
Okay, sounds good.
Are we ready? Are we ready to get into The Shining?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. So we always start off with, I love this movie. Did you?
I loved it.
Oh, is that our first one?
I think it might be.
I think this is our first I loved it.
I loved it. I think it's kind of dated, but I really enjoyed it once I got past how dated it was. Did it hold up for you?
I don't want to say anything slightly negative because you gave the first I loved it, but I was going to walk back my opinion a little bit.
Oh, really?
Don't get me wrong. I loved it. It's a great movie. But going into it, I unequivocally said, this is the best horror movie ever made.
Oh.
I'm not sure. So before the other night, I hadn't seen this movie in 15 years. I didn't realize it had been that long.
Oh, right.
But I saw it for the first time as a teenager. I watched it again in university, and I haven't seen it since.
Wow.
I'm pretty good at remembering movies, and I think I did. I wasn't, disappointed or anything, but I think so much of it is I can't get scared in movies easily. And I can't get scared in something I've already seen.
Right.
So watching The Shining without anything scaring you does take a bit away from it.
Okay, I can see that.
So nothing was scary to me, so maybe that's why I don't think it was as great as the first time I saw it. I found it terrifying.
It was terrifying.
And this time, nothing scared me, and I was really trying to get scared, but I'm just dead inside, I guess.
No, cold dead heart.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel like I've put too much excitement into my I loved it, so...
Oh, don't worry. I'm just gonna... The more I think about it, though,
yeah,
the more I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe it is the best movie ever made.
I feel like you're gonna get into all the themes and everything, and you're gonna be like, never mind.
It's so well constructed, and I won't take anything away from that. And when I say I'm walking back my opinion, not that it's a great movie, I just think that maybe it's not the best horror movie of all time.
Right.
Quite still possibly is, though.
Indy, do you have a favorite part of this movie?
That is a tough one. But the first thing that jumped out to me is that very famous scene of Jack backing Shelley Duvall up the stairs and the performances of the two of them. If there's a favorite moment, it would be that. But if there's a favorite thing in this, it's so big that it's hard to pick one, because just how scenes are constructed. The visuals of this film, and not in some like CG type of way, just how everything is placed on the screen in front of you is done so meticulously and so cleanly that it's just beautiful.
Okay.
So that's probably my favorite thing. What's your favorite part of The Shining?
So my favorite part of The Shining is the way that they made everything feel really, like I have often talked about how I don't enjoy the anxiety that happens during a horror movie, but I actually kind of enjoyed it this time. I think it was really well done. Mm-hmm. I liked when he has the bad dream before they've even left for Colorado, before they leave for the Overlook. Danny sees a flash of the twins and some other stuff in the hotel, and it really sets the scene. And I think I already knew as well going in that the twins were at the end of the hallway, and that they say, "Come play with us, Danny," and because I think I've seen like parodies of it. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the way he was kind of tearing around the hotel on the bike. And that happened a couple times.
Oh, that scene is fantastic.
But then when it actually happens and he sees the ghosts, every time that he didn't see the ghosts, I was so anxious and like I felt scared and like nervous. And I really enjoyed that, because that same scene that's very basic, he's just biking around a hotel on a tiny little bike. I think that it really it creates anxiety and emotion, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
this is another great tension building movie. Yes. We talked about in Halloween how he was able to do that, and I think this does it. I can't argue which one is better, but it's fantastic at that as well.
Yeah, so I think every time there wasn't a ghost at the end of the hallway, I still felt like, oh, it's coming. And then it didn't. And then I'd just be like, oh, okay. And then he'd take off around another corner. There'd be another, hallway end coming up. And I'd be like, oh, it's coming. And then I'd be like really anxious the entire time. And I actually enjoyed that this time.
Yeah, this movie, I was surprised how often we do get to see things.
Yes.
I thought it was a slower build than this, and it's a slow build, don't get me wrong, definitely by today's standards, but I thought it was even slower. I thought you don't get to see any slight haunting type thing until at least an hour in, but we do get that little bit right at the beginning of the movie. Of course, if this movie was done today, probably in the first 5 minutes, we would have a flashback to the original Grady killing all the people, and you would see a lot more.
Because people now have no imagination. They need to be shown everything. So, Indy, what was your least favorite part of this movie? Because I feel like there's a couple moments for me, but do you have a least favorite part? Because you said this was your favorite.
Definitely have a least favorite part. Towards the end of the movie, Shelley Duvall is running around and saying all sorts of crazy things. And she goes downstairs and there's cobwebs and then there's skeletons dressed in clothes.
Yeah.
That seemed so out of place for this movie.
It did.
In a world where ghosts are just looking like people, to have a skeleton in a suit is very strange.
All of a sudden she's hallucinating. But she's not hallucinating and seeing ghosts the way that everyone else in this movie has.
Yeah, it's a weird shot. I don't like it. I don't think it fits in. It makes it look like lots of other much worse movies when they're just like, skeleton and cobwebs, that's scary.
Yes.
It looked like a haunted house that someone does themselves. It's strange, and I wish they kind of cut that from modern releases of it.
I feel like she could have seen the same thing that he saw when he kept going into the lounge. Like people in flapper outfits, because that would have scared her just as much.
Terrifying.
She's been alone in this hotel with her family for months, and all of a sudden she sees a ballroom full of flappers and like people who are from like the 1920s. It doesn't make a lot of sense to all of a sudden see skeletons.
Yeah. It just didn't fit with everything else that had been established.
I agree with that.
What's your least favorite part?
The use of the N-word.
Well, it's a Stephen King, so you know there's going to be some of that.
I know. You did warn me about that, but I that entire scene, where Grady is talking to Jack, and they use the N-word back and forth quite a few times.
Yeah.
I just winced every single time it happened.
I didn't really go back and do any research or anything because I feel like I just know The Shining. But at the time, when I had first seen it, when I was 19, or when I watched it again, I was reading all sorts of stuff about it then, and reviews from the time found that very jarring. So it's not
Really? Okay.
different time, because this is 1980. It's not like this is 1950 or something, right? So it was strange for that time too.
That's good. I'm glad,
Yeah.
because I feel like there are some movies where it was okay when it was done, and it just has not aged well in that respect because there's some really dated language.
Yeah.
Not that that's ever okay, but it was more socially acceptable back then, and I was worried a little bit that that was the age of the movie and that was really okay.
See, I think it's almost... It's not it's good that that word is used, but it's better if it's used in a sense where, yes, this is meant to be offensive. It's not just hey, this is just how we talk. Forget about it. No big deal. Because when it draws attention to it, I think this movie does,
Yes.
I think it plays into some other things at least.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
So then, overall, was this movie scary?
Yes.
Were you really scared during
I was scared.
Oh, good.
There were some heart-pounding moments. And I bet if I checked my Fitbit, my heart rate would have gone up and down during watching it.
That's good. I'm really glad that holds up because it's so hard for me to tell because it doesn't scare me.
Well, because you have a cold, dead heart.
Right. Except I'm the one that cries in every movie.
I know.
I just don't scare easily. It's a blessing as well as a curse.
So I just checked my Fitbit, and my heart rate did go up and down quite rapidly during this movie, and I think that is a good indicator that I found this movie quite scary in parts, and then it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security at times too. Now let's talk about the characters individually. So starting with Danny. My first initial impression of him was he was super creepy.
I never thought Danny was creepy.
He looked so creepy. And his facial expressions, I'm torn between he's a really good actor and he's a really bad actor.
Oh, I think he's great. I think he's very
great?
good, yes.
I just think his scared face is not awesome.
I think it's fine. And I often hear criticism of just movies in general when people are like, that's not what your face looks like scared. And I was like, I don't know. How do you judge that about someone else?
I feel like you're not your most cognizant when you're scared.
He looks terrified, and he delivers the stuff well.
Okay.
I was on board. I thought he was very good.
Okay. I found him very creepy and kind of cheesy.
Huh. That's a performance I didn't anticipate anyone criticizing, so I don't even have any sort of defense for that, other than, I thought he was very good in it.
So then I'm right.
But there's those bits where he's kind of seizing and drool is coming out of his mouth and his eyes are just looking off into the distance. That's quality work, I think.
See, that's some of the stuff that I found kind of cheesy. I felt like it wasn't
great seizure acting.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good seizure acting.
Okay, well, we'll have to find a reel of the best seizure acting and really break it down.
I know with Kubrick in general, he's not a warm director. When we saw The Sixth Sense, all of the characters there were treated with some warmth, and you get to know them more personally. Kubrick just seems like he's not interested in that. Whether you love that or you hate that about him, that's definitely how he is and how his movies are.
Right.
They're very cold and sterile, and if I had a criticism of him as a director, that's what it is. But I think it's also kind of his strength.
Right.
But that's his style, regardless.
Okay.
And maybe because of that coldness, you just don't get a window into Danny as much. Also, he's not set up as the protagonist through much of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's kind of Jack's story at first, and then it transitions to him more.
Right.
And it's kind of... And I think that's very effective because it makes your allegiance fluctuate throughout the movie.
Right, because initially it's with Dad, and he's really trying to do his best for his family, and he's going to write this book.
Is he?
Is he though?
Yeah.
But he says he's going to write a book, and I think I agree with you in that it does make you fluctuate back and forth between whoever's kind of being focused on, because there is a point where it's focused on the mom, just cooking dinner and taking care of her family, and I enjoyed some of the scenes where she was just being her best housewife.
Should we talk about Shelley Duvall playing Wendy?
Yes, let's talk about Wendy. I found her at some points very simple. I didn't feel like her character had a lot of knowledge or deductive reasoning. And I think that took away a little bit from me.
So she is definitely the part of this movie that is most often criticized.
Right.
A lot of people just talk about how she was terrible in this movie. And upon my first 2 watchings many years ago, I definitely agreed. I thought she was the weakest point of it. This time, I came at it knowing the ending, and I really wanted to analyze what she was doing because she gets so much criticism. Also, last episode I was talking about, this is one of the most loved horror movies. It's not. It is to me, so I kind of assumed it was.
Right.
It didn't do well. It was not well received when it first came out.
That's interesting.
Do you want to know how many Oscars it was nominated for?
0.
0. It was, however, nominated for 2 Razzie Awards.
Oh, that's not good.
For Worst Director.
What?
Kubrick was nominated for Worst Director for this. And that is fucking ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And the other one was for Worst Actress for Shelley Duvall.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I can appreciate her. I feel like she did a good job and she really set that character. I think I just didn't enjoy the character.
So what made me like her a lot more this time? I looked at her knowing the end and kind of this backstory that I've made up, which I think the movie does suggest, that she's in an abusive relationship. Yeah. She has been for quite some time. So if you have that in your mind whenever she talks, because she has a lot of these lines where she just comes and says something very simple and just kind of sits and waits. So she'll say something like, "Oh, do you want a sandwich now?" And just kind of sits there smiling. And most people are like, "Look at this idiot. She doesn't know what to do." I feel like she's walking on eggshells because she thinks whatever she does to displease this man could send him into a rage. Right. And later, a few times, she does speak her mind, even just slightly. And he absolutely does that. He just berates her. He belittles her. And being informed in that way, I feel like Shelley Duvall's performance is crazy underrated. I think it's actually very good, but it took me a while to realize where she was coming from.
Okay.
So in the end, I actually think it was very good, not even just not bad. I think she was quite good in it.
You mentioning that makes me kind of agree with you when I see that and I think about what I know about domestic abuse and that kind of thing. I could totally see that actually. She came off very dumb. And very...
I think she's scared.
And scared works. I think if I stop looking at it as dumb and start looking at it as scared, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, because I know a lot of the criticism, Stephen King himself said that this is the most misogynist role. She's so weak. She's so timid. And I was in agreement for the longest time. But then when you look at what Jack is and how quickly he can turn, and I don't think this is just the hotel manipulating him. I think this is the person that he is. And the hotel's able to bring this out in him.
Right.
But he is an abusive person.
It's just below
through
the
and
surface.
through. I think it's always there. And you can see this play out when the times when how she talks to him, how timid she is. She's walking on eggshells this whole time. And then when he does snap, she just always tries to rephrase him "No, okay, I didn't mean that. I just meant..." And it's not that she's so weak and always trying to please. She's scared. She's scared for herself. She's scared for her son. And she has nowhere else to go. She's just such a lonely person. And she takes on a lot of childlike tendencies because her only friend is Danny. She has nothing else.
Right.
So I think that's why her performance is the way it is.
Okay, you've brought me around on her. I think looking at it from an abuse standpoint and her self-preservation, and they do mention that he dislocated Danny's arm at one point. Yeah. So I think that really makes sense as to why she would be so scared to set him off, because she's worried that he's either going to hurt her or Danny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at one point in the movie, she absolutely thinks that happened. And we only get to hear about the dislocated shoulder, but that's just because it came up with a doctor. We don't know how many more times this has happened.
True.
And I think that's a strength of her performance, is that if you look into it, and Jack's as well, that you can build this history for them by the way they act. You think that, that wasn't a one-time instance. This has happened many times.
I agree. The moment where he pulls Danny onto his lap,
Oh, that's such
Danny
an unsettling
looks
scene.
so uncomfortable there.
Yeah.
And I have that in my notes. And it's like supposed to be like a warm fatherly moment. And I feel like I remember doing that with my dad. And like, you know, there was a sense of comfort there, but there is no sense of comfort.
No, it's just the like, are you having a good time?
And he's
I
like,
want you to have a good time.
he's like, let me go.
That's so scary.
Yeah. He's like, just let
And
me.
the way he says it, he's just, yes, Dad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, see? Good performance,
Good
Danny.
performance. Okay.
Also, isn't it funny that Danny is played by Danny and Jack is played by Jack?
Yes. I have come around on those two characters.
All right. Well, then, shall we go into Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance?
Torrance. That's right. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the character progression of Jack is how normal he seemed during his job interview at the beginning of the movie. He seemed like any, guy with a young family going in to try and get a job that he quite wants, and he really wants to impress the employer, and he seemed very normal. And then how incredibly different he is at the end of the movie.
In that interview, I definitely never thought of Jack as being normal. He seems like such a creep to me.
Oh, really?
He seems like, and I think that's a criticism of him, is that he starts off crazy, so where does he go? But I don't think that's valid, because I think he definitely does have a progression. And like he goes from like a creep to just like a straight up psychopath.
Right.
But when he's in that interview, comes off like he's really trying to please them and not doing a great job. He's like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we love that. Murder? No big deal. Cool. Yeah. He doesn't seem normal to me at all.
Oh.
He seems like a real weirdo right from the beginning, but I think his character does change for sure. But there is a progression there.
There is. And maybe I'm remembering it after having seen his end progression.
Maybe.
And then the beginning of the movie, he seems super normal.
Or maybe you just think that kind of person's normal.
Maybe.
Which I don't know what that says about me. I hope I don't act like that. Also, did you see what he was reading when he's waiting for the interview?
No.
Or the second time? He's reading a Playgirl.
Really?
Yeah, and that's very strange.
What?
Yeah.
In a hotel?
Yeah, why is that there?
Yeah, that should not be just out.
No, it shouldn't.
Which one's Playgirl?
I don't know how to answer that question. What do you mean, which one is Playgirl?
Because Playboy is naked women, so is Playgirl naked men?
I think so.
Okay.
I've never actually read a Playgirl, but I'm under
either.
the impression that that's what it is.
I don't think I've actually seen a physical Playboy either.
I must have seen them on a shelf at somewhere at some point. Do they still have them?
Think so.
Is Playboy still in print?
Well, you can tweet
like most
at
print
us
things are gone.
At ILTYS2 and let us know if you've seen a Playboy recently. That is super weird, and I did not notice that he's reading porn, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Porn, like, of the time, that would have been, like, very scandalous.
I think that's scandalous whenever. If there's a hotel lobby that just has Playgirls in it, that's weird.
Yeah. Especially because isn't there children running around at the time? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hotel. And so there's an article about incest that's featured on the cover.
Okay, that's gross.
Yeah. It's not like a how-to, but it's still like there.
How-to on incest.
So then, of course, being the movie that it is. So I guess you don't have context for this. So
No,
Kubrick is famously a perfectionist.
Right.
So much so that there was always rumors that he typed up all of those pages of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Mm-hmm.
That he personally did it. That's not true, but he did make people do it. He said, like, no, you can't photocopy it. Each page has to be unique.
Right.
And they're like, we're not showing all of them. He was like, no, we'll know. Everything.
Because you see like 6 pages.
Yeah.
And
maybe
they all
more.
have different like spacings and stuff, which was cool. I think that really added to just how crazy he is.
Mm-hmm. In all of his movies, he's noted as a perfectionist. He makes people do crazy amount of takes. And when I say that, I mean he holds the world record for most number of takes.
Really?
So you know when Shelley Duvall's backing up the stairs?
Yeah.
127 takes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I think a lot of you out there might think, like, of course, that's a crazy number, but you don't realize how much time that takes on a set. Mm-hmm. That's not like a few hours. That's days.
Yes.
There's days of a shot.
One shot.
Not like scenes, not multiple takes of different angles of that. One shot. There was a part where, where Scatman or his name is Dick in the movie. I call him Scatman Crothers always.
I like
Dick
that better.
Halloran
Yeah.
is talking to Danny at a table there.
Yeah.
That was about 100 takes on Scatman.
What?
Just him saying his lines. And he famously broke down into tears and said, like, Mr. Kubrick, what do you want of me? And was just crying.
Oh.
And he's an old man by this point. It's tired. It's very late at night. And he just made him keep going. He's like, no, you're going to keep going.
That's
You're going to get
nuts.
this.
This is clearly before Hollywood child-like laws.
Well, Danny wasn't there for a lot of this.
Oh, Danny wasn't there. Okay.
So the one good thing that you can say about Kubrick is he was good for Danny. Danny would only do 3 hours per day of actual shooting. They would have like rehearsal time and stuff, but he was treated well. One funny thing is he never knew this was a horror movie. Because
Really?
he was never actually exposed to any of the actual scary stuff.
Oh.
So there's...
So he just acted a certain way. And
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a behind-the-scenes footage that was done by Kubrick's wife.
Yeah.
And it's on the DVD and the Blu-ray and everything.
Right.
And
I
remember
think I read about that, yeah.
seeing that many years ago, and it just like really made me want to make movies even more. So because the way that this was shown, it shows you like what it's actually like. A lot of behind the scenes things like, here's how we made this crazy composite with all of these orcs.
Right.
But this is just someone walking around while they're doing their stuff. And like people are arguing, it's taking way too long, the light's changing, and it's what it's actually like.
Oh. I
What
want to
was
see
I
that
t-
now.
Oh, we have it. It's right over there.
Okay.
It's
well,
only like 35 minutes.
We'll
so.
go over there and watch it.
But just about Kubrick being a perfectionist, and when Halloran was killed also, he made him do that many, many times. There's parts of it where Kubrick will come in and change the angles of boxes that are in the background. He's like, no, that's not good there, that's not good there.
But that's why you have a lighting director.
So also, he is like the most hands-on cinematographer.
Huh.
So you have a cinematographer who sets up the shots. Kubrick just does it himself.
Oh.
The cinematographer will do his stuff, but Kubrick sets things. He's a perfectionist. There's this one story that Jack Nicholson told, which I want to believe it's true, but maybe it's not. So they were walking, and I think it was a frog. This was in the United States at this point. Then Kubrick said, like, well, that frog shouldn't be there. It should be in Boston. And he got, like, some of his film crew to take the frog to Boston because that's where it looks better.
What?
Yeah. He also, like, wore a helmet whenever he would be in a car. He wouldn't fly on planes. Oh, actually, this is probably the best way to show you what how much he loves to control things and how much of a perfectionist and how everything means something to him. So, this big, giant, beautiful hotel we're shooting in?
Yes.
Do you know where that is?
No.
He made it. There's no hotel.
He built it.
Those are all sets in London.
What?
Because he won't fly, so he won't go to the US. He won't shoot there.
Oh.
He feels like anything that he finds isn't going to be perfect. He needs
Right.
to have complete control. So he sent people, I think there was about a year of them taking photos of hotels throughout America.
Right.
And then he had all of this built. These giant sets, all of it is built.
This must have been such an expensive movie.
I don't know that it was that expensive, but he had come off, like, the last 5 movies were just huge, huge successes.
Oh, okay.
So
So people were willing to
Yeah,
spend
he
money.
can do what he wants. He's
Right.
Stanley Kubrick, yeah. So that's why later on we're going to get into some crazy theories, and if it was any other director, you'd be like, oh, that's just a mistake. There's a Playgirl there, someone just forgot about it. But because he's such a perfectionist, because he picks these like specific carpets and everything, people attribute a lot more meaning to it. And a lot of the times it's crazy nonsense, but a lot of the times you'd say like, well, yeah, he made that choice. And if he's going to make that choice, like, why is he making that choice?
Okay.
And because he made the set, there's a lot of parts in it that are kind of impossible.
Right.
Like you were saying that you felt kind of just uneasy in a lot of the stuff.
I did, yes.
And when he's going through those corridors and stuff on his big wheel, Danny,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
So if you actually map it out, it's impossible what he does.
Oh, really?
Like he would have made a circle and been in the same place.
Oh.
And with another director, you'd say like, oh yeah, they used a cut and they just didn't really pay attention to that sort of stuff. But I think it also makes it, if you're going through rooms and you expect one thing, even if it's at like a really subconscious level almost, and that's not there, and you're getting into a new place when you should have been in a complete circle, that's unnerving, and that makes you kind of uneasy without even knowing it, maybe.
So I was thinking that the inside of the hotel was a lot like a hedge maze.
Absolutely. There's definitely a doubling with the mazes.
The inside of the hotel, you never really feel like there are movies that are set in hotels where you kind of get like an idea of the layout because the characters go to the same places every time.
You get a good grasp on what's where.
On the floor plan, and you could probably say like, oh yeah, okay, so this down this hallway, it's over here, and this is over here down this hallway, and if you go in this hallway, you can make a complete circle back to the lobby and whatever. This, you never got an idea of the layout of the hotel.
No, and I think there's good movies that set it up and you know where things are, and there's bad movies that there's no continuity to it.
Yeah.
Some might argue that this is in that category, but I think this is something completely different, that they know what makes sense and they subvert that to kind of mess with you.
Oh, interesting.
Like the room where he has his interview, that's in the middle of the hotel, but there's a window in that room.
Yeah.
How is there a window in that room?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And we saw on the other side, there's an impossibly big room on the other side of it, so that can't be the end of the building.
No.
It just can't be.
No.
So there's a lot of things like that where it just doesn't quite make sense.
It's a hedge maze.
There's also things that move around, like chairs move around throughout the movie.
Yes.
And yeah, perhaps it's just a continuity error, but with such a perfectionist like that, I think it's more likely either he does that to mess with you, or perhaps that he was composing a shot and goes, well, that chair doesn't look perfect, so I'm going to remove it. I think that's probably more likely. It's not as fun, though.
That's fair. I definitely noticed some things disappearing in other shots from like time to time when we'd see it, especially in that big, great lobby shot where Jack has his desk. I think you notice things kind of coming in and out.
Oh, yeah, the chairs move. His typewriter starts white and ends up blue.
Yeah. So I think that also adds to just like the uneasiness. You never feel like you get a good grasp on anything.
No, you're always on edge.
Yeah.
But I feel like something as big as a typewriter changing, getting replaced completely.
Yeah.
How would they not notice that? I think it's things like that that make me lend some sort of credence to all the crazy theories about this movie. So what did you find the most scary in this movie?
I think the twins, they were scary. I didn't realize they were British also. Not that that was scary. British people aren't scary.
Aren't they? If you have a ghost, especially a child ghost, and has a British accent, I think it's scarier.
I found it like really unsettling, and I enjoyed the way that they did all the shots when they were in there, and they like really focused in on his face and everything, and I think that made it even scarier. And I also really was quite scared during the scene where he goes to check out the lady in the bathtub.
Oh, yes. Jack at this point
goes to check out the lady in the bathtub, and she slowly draws back the hair. Like I loved, but also kind of was super scared of how slow everything went.
Yeah.
And
you're not sure, like, is this in slow motion or is everything moving slow? And I still don't really know.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because it felt like it really built that anxiety and that tension as she's pulling that back, and you already know at that point that he is like losing it, and he's clearly not seeing real things because he's just seen a ballroom full of people from The Great Gatsby. I like that he kind of becomes a little bit more sane during that, and he starts to see her as she really is, which is like an old lady who's covered in like decay and is very scary, laughing in a very scary way. And I was very startled when that happened, and I found that very scary.
I think that's one of the few like true horror movie type shots.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of it's really psychological and it's more subtle, but that's straight up horror stuff right there.
Yes.
And it's creepy for sure. Do you remember when Shelley Duvall's running, or Wendy, I should say, is running around, and she looks into a room and there's like a bear dog man filleting a man?
Yes.
Was that scary?
No, that was not scary. That was just weird.
That always scared me.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's just so like, what's happening?
I was just like really confused by that scene and why it needed to be there.
Yeah. You could just say like, well, she's running around, everything's crazy, and that's a crazy thing. But
I think that goes
so
in the
bizarre.
same category as the skeletons dressed in clothes.
Oh, no, I
Like,
disagree.
I feel like that doesn't need to be there.
Oh, I think it's good that it's there because there's nothing that kind of like knocks me off kilter more than that because I was just like, what is happening? It seemed so just like utterly confusing.
Right.
And you were right there with Wendy because she is just terrified but also perplexed and her whole world's just kind of crumbling around her. And then she sees this and there is a bit in the book that kind of explains it, but the fact that Kubrick didn't put any explanation in, I think you can't just say like, oh, it's from the book.
Right.
It's something, and it's something that I just can't begin to understand why it's there. I think this is a movie that's a good introduction for, like, it's a sliding scale between literal and figurative in this movie. Just because you see something in this movie doesn't mean that that thing happened.
Right.
I think it's just, it works on, like, another level a lot of the times.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
kind of just implanting ideas in your head more than it's worried about the plot at some points, which can be, like, really off-putting, and I think that's what makes it a kind of a deeper level of a horror movie.
What did you find scary? You already talked about the bear dog man.
Although that wasn't scary this time, that I knew it was coming. For some reason, like the couple of times when Danny really does the
Oh, yeah.
and he like really goes, and that voice just doesn't seem human, that actually like startled me.
Tony's
and I thought
voice.
it was scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think just it's kind of hard to put into words, but there's two such different things working in this movie. Because like first you have the Overlook Hotel, which we don't really understand. It's not like in a lot of movies you'll get an explanation of this is what happened, this is why this is happening. You never really get that for the Overlook. We think it's haunted, but either way it seems ominous and malevolent, right?
Right.
And it's just unknowable and there's no explanation given. And then that's coupled with the exact opposite of that in Jack. Because it's the most familiar thing possible. It's his father or her husband. And by combining these two things, it kind of plays on the scariest parts of both.
Yeah.
Because I think if there's anything scarier than just a big unknowable haunted mansion hotel, it's that someone that you had trusted or someone who has so much access to your life and you're just intertwined with can just snap and just turn on you.
And that's terrifying. No, absolutely. And even if they aren't the best person, it's still terrifying when they really go all the way.
And then despite like Jack and the hotel being exact opposites, they're blended together a lot.
Right.
Rather than having cuts a lot of the time, Kubrick used dissolves, and there would be a dissolve of a shot of the hotel, and then it dissolves into Jack's face, and you just kind of get the two of them melting together like that a lot. And that was really cool. And did you see how often that Jack was shot in a mirror?
Yes.
And it would be like off-putting. Like there's that one time when he's, I think he's sleeping, and the shot is of him, and the shot gets wider and wider, and then we realize we've been looking in a mirror this whole time. So,
yeah, because when she comes into the room, it's not completely obvious that it's a mirror.
No, and it's kind of jarring to realize what you're looking at isn't what you think you're looking at.
Yes.
And it's useful in that, and it's also useful in just linking him and the hotel, because you're not looking at him. You're looking at the hotel. You're looking at a piece of furniture, and it represents Jack, because the two of them just kind of get lost in each other.
Yes, absolutely. And the spirits and all the bad stuff that's happening in there, or that had happened in there.
There's mirrors just all over this movie, and we can talk into like what they mean. Well, do you have any insights to any of this? Or else I'm just going to go on for like 4 hours. So get ready, everyone.
Oh, part 3 and 4 of this podcast are coming at you. I didn't feel like mirrors were really out of place in a hotel, because I feel like hotels have a lot of mirrors. I think that's just like a thing. And I did enjoy when you got a good shot through the mirror. I think not knowing that red rum was murder backwards. I think that moment where you automatically, like when all of a sudden you saw it right through the mirror and it said murder, and I was like, oh!
In that way, the mirrors almost act as like a gateway to the spirit world.
Yes. Right? And something's trying to tell you that that's what's going to happen. Like, I feel like Tony, or whatever Tony is, was trying to warn them. that murder was going to happen if they continued being there. When Shelley Duvall, Wendy, was running through the hotel, there was a couple times where you saw her through mirrors and she just looked terrified. And you could tell that when she was talking to Danny, she was trying her best to be like a parent and to be kind of more calm. And she didn't always get there, but through the mirror, the couple times you saw her face and she was just absolutely terrified and losing it.
And it also sets up like the idea of doubling, which is throughout this movie. Pretty much everyone has a double, except maybe Shelley Duvall.
Right.
So Danny has his Tony.
Yeah.
They're kind of the... And so we always call them the twins. They're not twins.
No.
They're said to be 8 and 10 years old.
Yeah, they're sisters.
But they look like twins.
Yes.
So it's just another idea of doubling and everything repeating itself.
Yeah.
The inside of the Overlook is doubled in the outside with the maze.
Jack and Mr. Grady?
So let's talk about that one.
Okay.
So Jack and Delbert Grady, do you think that's his double?
I think so. Because like you said, he never had a sane moment in this movie. And I'm becoming more okay with agreeing with you on that. I think he definitely started out crazy and just got crazier as the hotel.
I don't think he started out crazy. I just thought he started out as like, oh, not normal. He seemed weird and
Like
a
a
little
creep.
off, yeah. So we are told that the caretaker who murdered his family was Charles Grady.
Yes.
But this man is Delbert Grady.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same man.
Oh, you're right. They have different names.
Yeah, and that can't be an oversight.
No.
There's no way something that big got through. So I think the actual double is... So let me see if you're staying with me here, because I'm not even sure if this makes any sense to myself. If Jack is this Grady's double...
Yes.
But you'd think this Grady's double would be the other Grady. They have the same name.
Yeah.
So is Jack Charles Grady?
Ah.
And he is Charles Grady's double in that he is like another manifestation of him.
Right.
Because he's going to do the same thing. And after all, Jack has always been the caretaker.
Yeah.
Right? So he's always had that job, is what this Grady says to him.
Ah.
See? Doesn't it kind of make sense?
It does. That's a good theory.
So he kind of is that Grady. He
Yeah.
is Charles Grady. And Delbert Grady is his double then, I guess. But he's also his own double from another time.
Right.
And it kind of, that sounds like super crazy. But then when you look at the ending with the picture, then you're like, okay, well, they're already playing with that idea.
Yes.
That time here is fluid. It's perhaps cyclical, but it doesn't have the same meaning as in our world.
So we're going back to episode 1 in that he was a ghost all along.
Maybe.
Sixth Sense.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I don't think he was a ghost in like the strictest sense,
Right.
but I think it plays into the idea of things repeating themselves, specifically violence. There's chains of violence throughout this movie that are alluded to or shown directly, and I feel like almost the thesis of this movie is that violence repeats.
Yes.
That's kind of when I'm getting into my own head there, perhaps, but I think there's enough to support that kind of idea. And then, of course, other doubles, there's the young lady in the tub, and then she's doubled with the old one.
Yes. Does Wendy have a double?
I don't think so. I feel like Wendy is so much a part of the world of the movie almost.
Yeah.
Because Jack is definitely being influenced by the hotel. Danny has his Shining. Even Scatman has that.
Mm-hmm.
But Wendy's kind of like along for the ride, it seems.
I feel like she's an innocent bystander in that.
It seems like it.
And she's just like, and that's why she reacts so badly to everything that's going on, is that like she doesn't have that other personality that she can sink into, or the other person who can kind of like tell her what's going on. She is literally just a normal person who is in this insane hotel world.
Yeah, and she's so isolated. And I think the idea of isolation in this movie is also
Yes.
fantastic. And that's probably like very apparent to everyone. They are literally stranded here. They can't get out.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is this giant hotel and not like a cabin in the woods, because you think you'd get the same idea from just some cabin somewhere. But this allows them to isolate each other as well. So each individual of these three characters is also further isolated. They're all trapped away from society.
Yes.
But because the hotel is so big and cavernous and like labyrinthian, is that a word?
I don't
And
know.
so labyrinthian
It's a word now.
that they are isolated from each other too.
One of my favorite themes in hotel themed movies is that you check in and you never check out. And I don't know if everyone who's listening has seen the American Horror Story hotel season, but there is literally a person or a ghost in every single room who has never checked out. And I love the idea of like not just room 237, but every single room has some kind of story. And if you stay in it, you're going to get subjected to it. And I think that by staying in the hotel, they've subjected themselves to every single ghost in that place.
Right. Well, Jack definitely is open to all of these other ones because, like, look at all the people that
Yes.
he sees, right?
I think it's a ballroom full of people.
Mm-hmm. And you wonder if is that ballroom full of people, was that a specific event? Or are these all different people and this is what they get together to do now?
Right.
Who knows?
They're just bored.
Yeah. Why would it be?
I would be too.
Just stuck haunting this hotel forever?
I hope if I get to haunt a hotel, I have a really good outfit on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be stuck haunting a hotel in pajamas.
That's why you should always wear a sequin dress.
I can do that.
Just all the time. So you better get changed.
Okay, well, I'll be right back. I really want to know more about the other ghosts in this hotel because they had a part in driving him to the point where he was ready to kill his family because he's seeing all these things and he's really losing touch with reality by seeing all these ghosts, and I want to know who all these ghosts are. I want a movie just about the ghosts in this hotel.
All right, well, you should get to work on that.
I'm not going to make it.
Oh.
I want Stanley Kubrick to make it.
Oh, I have some bad news for you.
What?
He died years ago.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Don't worry, he left behind some masterpieces that we're going to watch.
Excellent. Okay. Are they about the ghosts at the Overlook Hotel?
They are not.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
But you can't explain all the ghosts, because then you would get into, like, what I hate about all of the Halloween sequels. They go like, well, actually, this is why this happens. This is why it happens.
Yeah, I guess
the
it could get pretty
ambiguity is the
convoluted.
brilliance of it.
True.
Every scene in this movie, there's something ambiguous. There's something that you don't fully grasp, and that's what's great about it. Maybe we should just get into what do you think actually happened in this movie.
Okay.
So first question, are there ghosts?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How can we be sure?
I don't know.
So couldn't it be that Jack already has had some issues throughout his life, he was an alcoholic, and he feels like he needs that again, and now he's so far isolated, so disappointed in where his life has gone that he's just become mad and made all this up? Do you know that every time Jack talks to a ghost, there's a mirror behind that ghost?
Really?
Isn't he just talking to himself?
Seriously?
Yeah.
What?
Isn't this movie brilliant?
Oh my god, we need to make dinner and then just watch this movie again.
Deal.
Because I need to see all of these things now.
Or he looks in a mirror just before. Like, for instance, the one that there's not a mirror right behind is the woman in 237, but he does come through past the mirror.
Because that's in a bathroom. And ballrooms tend to have a lot of mirrors.
Yep. And first he's looking directly in a mirror the first time we see Lloyd, the bartender.
Yeah.
And he just pops up between him and the mirror. Of course, then Grady takes him to the bathroom, which is all lined with mirrors. So maybe he's just talking to himself this whole time.
Oh, then this is a narrative on mental health.
Yes. Yes, it is. I'll blow up that theory myself, though. I think there are ghosts.
Yeah?
Because there's one thing that you cannot explain, and that it's who unlocks the door when he's locked in the pantry. I think that's a ghost.
I think it's ghosts.
It's a ghost or it's Danny. That's the only other thing. We don't know what Danny's up to at that time. and it's feasible that he still like feels some sort of love for his father and doesn't want to see him like this, and he unlocks the door. That's possible, but I think there are ghosts in this movie.
I think it's a poltergeist.
Wait, so all the other ghosts were in his mind, but the one poltergeist just unlocks doors?
Yeah. Because poltergeists are supposed to be the ones who can, like, pick things up and throw them and,
Yep.
like, who can control, like, the energy in the room and make things cold. And...
So, unrelated to everything else in this movie, there is a poltergeist that just unlocks doors?
Yes.
Okay. It just never came up.
I think Grady is, like, such a bad, like, malicious spirit that he is a poltergeist.
Oh, so he's real.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think everyone else could just be ghosts or his imagination or whatever.
Ghosts or his imagination? Those are two very different things.
I think it could be either.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Grady, because he did this awful thing and he was driven to madness or whatever drove him to madness, his pairing, I think that is a poltergeist and that is what's making things happen in the hotel.
But was that even him that did it? Or is this a different Grady?
I don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know.
I know early on we had this kind of argument where my point, like, to really strip it down was just, it's fun not to know. And you're like, no, you need to know. You need answers. Are you kind of getting what I love about not knowing?
I do. I do get that. And I think that knowing all of these things that could have happened,
Mm-hmm.
like operative word there being could, just makes it even more interesting. And it like, makes it a little bit more fun to watch as well a second time because I'm going to be looking for all of those things. And I think I'm still going to be scared and I'm still going to be anxious about it. But I think that watching it with some of like back knowledge, like what we've discussed today, I think that it's just going to make it even better.
Oh, well, we have so much further to go, Samantha. But yeah, I think that part works great in having someone who is perhaps mentally ill and supernatural, because it allows that kind of gray area in the middle, not only in what's real, what's in his head, but as a viewer, if we start off with like, oh, here's ghosts, it's kind of jarring, but not in a good way almost. And when we have the first time we start seeing things, we could feasibly think in our own mind that this is just in Jack's head. And if you're the type of person who's like, ugh, ghosts, I don't want to see that. That's no fun. That's not real. It gives you that to believe things because maybe it's just in his own head. But then I think it goes so far that you can't doubt it anymore. I think by the end of this movie, you have to realize, like, yes, there is some supernatural stuff at play. What you think it is debatable, but it kind of slides you in there sneakily. So if you didn't believe in ghosts, you're like, oh, I don't believe, but it could be something else. But by the end, you're like, oh yeah, those were ghosts. There's fucking ghosts in this movie. And if you were like a non-believer, it kind of tricked you into getting on the side of the movie.
I like that. I like the way that they've done this. And I think that Stanley Kubrick / Stephen King did a really good job.
I think Stanley Kubrick did a really good job. And Stephen King, not so much. So Stephen King's novel, there's a lot of really good character stuff. Right. I was surprised how much I loved the first half of The Shining, the novel. And then they get to the hotel and the stuff from the movie starts happening. And I think that's where the novel falls apart.
Oh.
There's like parts where in the hedge maze, there's giant topiary animals and they come alive and like attack people. And there's like leaf like tigers and stuff.
Oh, weird.
And like that's not scary to me, and I just didn't think it was particularly great throughout that. It's not a bad book.
I liked that the scary part of the maze was the fact that someone was chasing him through it.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when that's been set up with that all the Steadicam stuff that we've seen upstairs, and we already know the stakes that it had when it was in the house, and then this is amped up even further with there's an axe-wielding maniac after Danny.
And it's winter, and like if you stop and he finds you, you die. Yeah. And if you hide for too long and don't have like an escape line, you die because of the elements.
And that stuff looked pretty good, huh?
It did.
It's all styrofoam and salt.
Huh.
Because, Kubrick won't go outside. He has to control everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, they did a really good job. You know, I don't know how many Hallmark movies you've watched, but they always do, they film them in like June, July, August. And then they get edited and released at Christmas. Mm-hmm. And they used this like foam.
Of the same year.
What? Of the same year, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's a fast schedule.
But they film in places like Texas, so they might be able to film in like Florida and stuff like that. They might be able to film in like March. But you always see these people on Instagram and stuff who are in these movies and they're like Christmas in May and like they're in like down coats and boots and like fully dressed and they're like it's 110 degrees out right now. But they use this foam stuff that is so clearly not snow if you look really closely at it. Like if you're in that Hallmark movie haze where you're like everything is believable and everything is lovely, you're like not going to notice that. But if you're really looking at it, it looks like foam. It doesn't look like snow. And everything in this movie looked like snow. So I was really impressed because it looked like it was snowing. And it looked like there was days and days and days and weeks of snow on the ground.
Yeah, and it's just, styrofoam and salt.
And the way it was clinging to like the trees and stuff, it looked really real.
I thought that was one of the small criticisms that I would have is most people aren't used to walking through several feet of snow. But as someone who is, I'm like, that's not how snow acts. But like, what can you do, right?
I didn't notice that though.
Oh, okay.
Everything else was so real to me.
That's a sign of a good filmmaker is that when there are things that aren't great, you either forgive it or you don't notice it because you're so caught up in all the other stuff.
And I definitely was.
When we were talking about how isolated they are, another thing that I really loved is whenever they had shots of Jack, you never, except for there's that one where Danny's on his lap, he's never in the same shot with people.
Really?
Like when he's talking to Wendy, it'll go back and forth on shots of them. If you just watch movies and TV, there's a technique called like shot reverse shot where all it means is it's not terribly technical, but you'll know it and you know when someone doesn't do it. If there's a shot of you and we're talking, I'll often be in the foreground and you'll see a bit of my head and shoulder. And then a shot, and you're the one talking. Right. But you can see that we're talking to each other because of that.
And then it'll reverse, and you'll see my shoulder. And
so it tells,
so
you know that the people are talking to each other. This doesn't do that. It'll often frame Jack, especially. He's just by himself. He won't be in the frame with other people, so he's just that much more isolated. And I love little things like that. They're just because he does those kind of things. That's why a lot of the really crazy stuff you can kind of see where people are coming from because Kubrick does play with these things so much.
Your film nerd is showing.
Yeah. Well, no one brings it out like Kubrick
Like Kubrick, yeah.
Do you want to hear about some of the crazy theories and we can shoot them down, or you can say like, oh yeah, that makes sense?
I do. I'm excited about this part.
What are your theories on like authorial intent?
I don't know what that means.
Like if the author, in this case, Kubrick, if he intended something to be, or if he didn't intend it, does it still matter? Like, if he comes out and says, like, oh, I didn't mean this, does it still matter?
I think so. Because I feel like something like The Shining or The Exorcist or any of those books, people have read and loved them so much that everything becomes part of, like, the canon. And there are people who say, oh, well, that was there for a reason. Yeah. And I think at some point it stops being the author's work and it starts being everybody's work. And like the mutual love and understanding of what this universe is doesn't really matter what the original intention was.
Definitely. Like there was that whole kind of movement in more postmodern criticism of that the author is dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they wanted. If something is there, it's because it speaks to us, or perhaps the author did something without intent, but it was kind of, it's so a part of their culture that they just do it. Like perhaps if there's someone and they always write minority characters are always poor and robbing people. And they're like, oh, well, I didn't intend that. But no, but you were a product of something that taught you that, and then you're putting it out there. So it's valid for criticism then.
Yeah. Now I'm excited for more like theories.
All right, well, let's get into some of these theories. So we'll talk about some that are not my own at first.
Okay.
But before we do that, maybe I'll nerd out even just a little bit more. And I have a little quote for you.
Okay.
From Ernest Hemingway, one of my very favorite authors. He said that if a writer knows enough of what he is writing about, he may omit things that he knows And the reader, if the writer is writing truly enough, will have a feeling of those things as strongly as though the writer had stated them. The dignity of movement of an iceberg is due to only 1/8 of it being above water. So he's just saying, like, you can say a little bit. If you know what you're doing enough, all of that other stuff is just going to come with it. And his example for this was like he was asked, like, what's the shortest story you could write? And he said, for sale, baby shoes, never worn.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh, that's so sad.
So that's the perfect example of this, of that you can say one thing and all that other stuff that you omit, if you know what you're saying well enough, it's going to come through.
Yes.
That being said, I feel like half of these are all utter nonsense.
I'm excited.
So we talked about how the movie has doubles.
Yes.
There's doubles all over the place. If you play the movie superimposed over itself, one forwards and one backwards, it all kind of like syncs up. So some people are saying this whole movie is meant to be, it's like front and back, and that kind of goes with like time not being terribly important and being fluid and cyclical, that this movie plays as well backwards as it does forward. If you ever watched it like that, and I may have many years ago.
Have you?
You get to see some crazy things, like when Jack like looks crazily, you see the flashes of the girls being killed in his eyes, and like there's all sorts of like really cool stuff that lines up like that.
Can we do that?
I guess like maybe you need to get like probably super high or something. I think that's the time for this.
Let's get super high and do that.
All right. But I think that's like people playing Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz. Like,
right.
Sure, it kind of works,
get,
but yeah. So you know how the moon landing never happened, right?
What do you mean?
Yeah, people never landed on the moon. That was just a hoax.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, no, that's a well-known hoax.
We should state, because since things like this are up for debate these days, we do believe the moon landing happened.
It happened. We all saw it.
But at the time, a lot of people said it did not happen, and still people say that. But at the time, most often, it was attributed to Stanley Kubrick, that he was the one that filmed all of that stuff. Yeah. So that's a part of, because he had done a movie called 2001: A Space Odyssey,
right? Which
is very famous, even if you haven't seen it. And a lot of the techniques that he pioneered in that were so revolutionary that everyone assumed, like, oh yeah, he did. He also did the space landing footage.
Wow.
And The Shining is his confession.
Oh.
So we have Danny's wearing his Apollo 11.
Oh, I loved all of his sweaters.
Yeah.
That was another favorite part of mine. Was all of his adorable little, like, 80s clothing that was just, like, it was so cute.
So he's wearing his Apollo 11 sweater, so that's a little hint at it. That's Kubrick is acknowledging that that's what he did. The pattern in the carpet looks very much like the launch pads that were used.
Like murder carpet?
Yeah. Well, there's actually a few different carpets.
There is a few different carpets.
The hexagonal one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks very much like the launch pads that were used for the Apollo series. This one I never saw, but I started when I got into this wormhole. There's the twins who are not twins, but twins kind of makes you think of Gemini, of course.
Yeah.
The sign for the twins. The Gemini program was the one that was before the Apollo program, just as the twins were before Danny, who's Apollo.
Okay.
In the book, it's room 217, but here it's changed to 237 because that's the average distance in 237,000 miles that the moon is from Earth. All of this is Stanley Kubrick confessing that he hoaxed everyone and made the moon landing.
I feel like with a lot of conspiracy theories, you can come up with pretty much anything to prove it.
And also, it's about 239,000 miles.
Okay, wow.
It should have been 239, then maybe I'd believe it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all
I feel like
nonsense.
if you want it bad enough, you can make up reasons as to why.
Yeah.
And it's like, beloved sports teams lose. You're like, oh, well, look at 3 years ago when we did this one thing and that happened, and now we're losing.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I feel like if you either dig back far enough or dig in deep enough, you're going to be able to come up with something that sounds semi-credible.
Especially when people start using numbers.
Yes.
They also do the 2 + 3 + 7 = 42, and that's the year that they really started sending the Jews to the concentration camps.
Yes.
And there's that lady, she's wearing a 42 jersey, or it's Danny, he has a 42 jersey. There's so many 42s in it. This movie is about the Holocaust, which is another theory that a lot of people have.
I feel like you can get a theory on anything just based on like.
But the
you
typewriter
digging
was a
enough.
German brand, and the name means eagle, Nazis.
Oh my god. No.
Yeah,
no,
that one's nonsense.
That one's garbage.
You know what? This reminds me of another very good quote from Stanley Kubrick, who said, "People can misinterpret almost anything so that it coincides with views they already hold. They take from art what they already believe." And I wonder, how many people have ever had their views about anything important changed by a work of art?
Okay.
That's really good, because he said, yeah, you just take whatever you believe. So yeah, moon landing, nonsense. Holocaust stuff, nonsense. A lot of people believe there's a lot of subliminal sexual imagery. One of the carpets is like a penis entering a vagina, and all of it is a very Oedipal stuff, and I think I don't even want to get into it all. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
That's the thing that so many people are always aboard, is everything looks like a penis to everyone.
It's true.
What is that about? And they're like, oh, we only build skyscrapers because they're like penises. No, I don't think it is. I think it's they have architectural
way to hold
valid. Yeah. You know about the MK Ultra stuff a little bit? So MK Ultra
yes, I have heard a little bit.
Was an American program. This is all real. It sounds like it's not real, and it sounds like it itself is a conspiracy theory. But there's been declassified documents that prove that this was all real. It was an American program where they did lots of terrible, terrible things to usually unsuspecting victims. Mm-hmm. They tortured them. They dosed them with drugs when they weren't expecting it. It kind of created the Unabomber because he was one of the test people and did all this terrible stuff after him.
I didn't know that he was one of those test people.
Oh, I think so. Oh, I hope I didn't just make that up. And then I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist.
I feel like I've known enough about the Unabomber and a little bit about MK Ultra.
I think that he was one of the test ones, and I think it was computer-based testing, and it messed with him so much
like drove
that
him crazy.
He's very anti-technology after that. You guys check into that. I think that might be right, but I don't quote me on it. But either way, part of MK Ultra was Project Monarch. There's a poster in the Overlook Hotel that is Monarch. Just like these unsuspecting Americans, Jack is being slowly broken down until he eventually goes insane.
Interesting.
It's all an apology for the MK Ultra program.
Is the having to take care of the hotel over the winter like an MK Ultra experimentation?
Yes.
I believe that's true then.
Then there's all sorts of Minotaur stuff. And so Labyrinth, of course, goes with the Minotaur. People say, like, oh, Jack is like a Minotaur because the way they shoot him makes him look like a bull? I don't know what that means.
I don't think so.
I guess he has those, like, curvy eyebrows.
But
like,
no.
No, that's nonsense. And in this one, there's a movie called Room 237, which is terrible. I hate this movie because it's all about these kind of theories.
Right.
And there's so many good theories that to give credence to this sort of stuff in a movie is annoying. Because there's a shot of a skier on a poster and they're like, look, it's a Minotaur. It's like, no, it's a skier. And it says ski whatever mountain it is.
Right.
So, like, it's not a Minotaur.
No, it's not.
I think, like, if you're going to make a Minotaur argument about this... I'll nerd out a little bit more now. I don't think this is true either, but... So there's a Minotaur in Dante's Inferno. Mm-hmm. The Minotaur guards the river of blood, much like the elevator full of blood.
Yes.
And this is the seventh circle of hell, which is for people who commit violence against their fellow man. Which there's a lot of. But then you go into the ninth circle of hell, and this is for people who have betrayed members of their own family. And do you know what happens to them there?
No.
They're frozen in a lake. Just like Jack at the end.
Interesting.
See, that's not even in it, and I think that makes more sense.
I think that's a good theory. All jokes from the other theories aside, I think that one actually has a little bit of, like, significance.
Okay, now I have another theory for you, and this one, I think there are some legitimate parts too. So I didn't create this one, but I'll tell you what I'm going to take away from it.
Okay.
So it's about all of the indigenous American symbolism throughout this.
Right.
Did you notice a lot of it?
There was a little bit here and there, yeah. So they mentioned that it's like an Indian burial ground.
Right.
And, yeah.
And during constructions, they had some some conflict with whoever the local tribe in Colorado is. And the artwork. There's indigenous artwork throughout.
Yes, and a lot of the stained glass looks a lot like indigenous beadwork.
Yes.
And that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, and for our American or other place listeners, we use the word indigenous. What do they use in America? Native American.
Native American, yeah.
I think a lot of the time they just say Indian, really.
I think so.
But Native American.
In Canada, we call it indigenous.
Yes. So the Native American or indigenous people, there are also a lot of artwork. At one part, Jack is throwing his ball against the wall, and it's against like some Native American artwork.
Giant paintings, yeah.
Yes. The theory goes that this is all about trying to kind of resolve some sort of guilt about the slaughter of the Native Americans. And that's throughout this movie. It's built on an ancient burial ground. The elevator, which theoretically starts at the basement, comes up and dumps all this blood out, and that is the blood that this place is built upon.
I was wondering about the blood because I was like, that is a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood.
For just like 1 or 2 murders.
Yeah. But how many have actually been murdered?
True.
How many Native Americans were murdered? Millions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that I can kind of see because there's so much imagery of it. But then it goes a little further to the things that I don't agree with. Like there are cartoonish heads with like the big headdresses, like the typical chief thing on cans of baking soda, which are ones that existed and were real and everything.
I remember seeing that. It's like Aunt Jemima and like...
Right. So in the beginning, when Scatman is talking to Danny, those faces are very lined up and they're all head on.
Yes.
And this kind of symbolizes honesty. Later on, when Jack is talking to Grady through the wall, all of them are askew and facing different ways because this is like a dishonest conversation. That, I think, is too much. But then there's photographs of Stanley Kubrick slightly modifying and nudging all of these cans to where they are now.
Interesting.
So he took the time, a director on this multi-million-dollar film,
took the time to like move things.
To tilt cans around.
Interesting.
I still don't think that's real, but where I think it has some credence is because I think this movie in general is about themes of violence reoccurring. So we can go at it a very basic level that if you are abused as a child, you might continue and perpetuate that cycle of violence. And we see that Danny is abused. He has an abusive father. We don't really know anything about Jack's father, but I think that the idea that domestic violence is kind of self-perpetuating it's not a stretch.
No, it's not. And you kind of give what you learned, and it's definitely something that is well documented in the fact that you're probably not going to be a good parent if you had abusive parents unless you get the help that you need, and clearly none of these characters have gotten the help that they need.
And then beyond just that family unit violence, we have the idea that this violence at the Overlook is going to keep perpetuating itself because Grady killed his family, and very early on we know where this movie is going. And that's like a weird form of tension wherein he says, don't worry, I'm not going to kill my family. And then we're like, oh shit, he's going to kill his family.
Yes.
And the first times I'd seen that, I was like, why would they just say that right out there? But I think that's part of the power, that we know where it's going and we're just like in for the ride almost.
Absolutely.
So there's that's going to keep repeating. And whether or not he's like a reincarnation of Grady, we don't really know, but it is something that repeats. And then we have those lines about how this was buried on an Indian burial ground, how they had to fight off people while they were building it. So it's showing you that America itself is built upon this violence, and that violence is going to keep continuing.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is real, and it's not always about like dishonesty and treaties broken. I think it's about how America is built on violence. That violence continues. These families are built on violence, and that violence is going to continue.
Yeah.
One of the changes that Kubrick made is that in the novel, the Overlook explodes in fire and all burns down.
Oh, really?
And that is very finite. It's over. All of this is over now. But here, the Overlook is fine and Jack freezes. And when you think about freezing, it's not the end of something. It's just, you're just going to thaw it and do it all over again.
It's true. It's left to perpetuate the cycle again.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one. I like that theory.
He changed something to the exact opposite. You feel like he has to have done that for a reason.
Yes.
And it's not like freezing is more cinematic. It's quite the opposite.
No, I
right?
did not enjoy seeing his face all frozen. I
Yeah.
feel like we could have had like a really far panned out shot of him sitting in the hedge maze frozen.
Did it like you thought it wasn't well done, or
It was
creeped you
kind
out?
of cartoony.
Hmm.
Like I didn't think it was well done. I think a farther out, leaving you to like, oh yeah, he's dead, he's frozen. Like I didn't think we needed to see his face and his eyes open and everything like that.
And then if you're following this line of how like America was built upon this violence, there's a lot of American symbolism throughout it as well. Like for the first half of the movie, Danny and Wendy are almost exclusively dressed in very bright red, white, and blue.
Right.
But then as things get worse, they start losing that and they start getting into more of the muted tones. Perhaps that's just a coincidence, but it seems like there's definitely a lot of that at play. The use of color, I couldn't quite figure out where they're going with that.
This isn't a theory. It was just something that I really enjoyed was when Jack throws the ball down the hallway in anger. And in my notes, I wrote, oh, I hope that ball doesn't come back. And then it comes back to Danny. I was like waiting for that for like 45 minutes in the movie because I was like, it's going to come back. It's going to be significant. Like there's no way that you can throw a ball, never see where it ends, and then not have it come back in a creepy way.
And I think that adds to part of the ambiguity because is it a ghost that rolled it to Danny or is it Jack? Because Jack's throwing this ball over everywhere. So nothing is like quite clear cut as where it's coming from.
I like that.
Do you want to hear one of my theories about class?
I do.
You know how I like talking about the class struggle.
I love talking about class struggle.
Jack definitely wants to be higher class. But when you look at him, he's very, not so much. He was a school teacher. Something happened there. We don't know what happened, but he lost his job. He wants to be a writer. That's not really going where he wants to be. And now he's doing manual labor, which I think he feels is beneath him. Mm-hmm. He wants to be in the higher class. And he berates Wendy at one point for she's the one keeping him down. Right?
Because she keeps bugging him.
Yeah. And he would be so successful if it wasn't for this family. And I think this is like such a way of thinking that's so present throughout time. Like there's so much of that right now. I mean, this isn't going to be a stretch if I talk about how like this white male is so fragile in his ego that these other people are rising to his level. Yeah. That's very prescient for today. Much. But like if you look at it, who are the antagonists in this? We have Wendy, who is female, who he's so dismissive of, he's abusive to, and he refers to as like the old sperm bake upstairs, right?
Ugh, I hated that too.
Yeah, and that's the kind of guy he is. And then we have Dick Halloran, who is black, who, after the civil rights, they're starting to come up to his level, and he doesn't like that, and that's why they're using the N-word against him. Yes. They're proving that, oh, we're better, we're not like that. He's going to come here and ruin things. Then you have Danny, who is his own offspring, so you think like he'd be on the same side. He's a white male, he's like me, but Danny's the sign of progress. And I think that's more the Apollo 11 sweater and the American colored clothing. So it's more a more uplifting look at it, that there is hope for the future, and that's Danny. But because that's upsetting the things that he's used to, he's against him as well. Right. And then when the ghost spills something on him, he's like not dressed well, but they treat him with such reverence and respect, and that's what wins him over to that side. He's like, yeah, I'm upper class like you guys.
Because it's a fancy party.
Yeah.
These people are dressed up, and they're clearly like fancy high society. So he's like, oh, no, this is where I belong.
Yeah, so that's why he's so willing to join these upper class ghosts and leave his, what he thinks, lower class family behind. That's what I think. Too.
I like that theory a lot, actually. Because there's very clearly a class thing when you point it out like that.
One thing I didn't like about Scatman, though, is like this whole like black mystic thing that's in so many movies.
Yeah.
That's the only time like you get a good role. If you're either indigenous or black, you can tell the white people how to use the powers that they have, but you do it in a folksy way. But then, of course, they're going to be able to do it better than you.
Exactly, yeah, because Danny can do it better than him.
But that being said, I thought Scatman was like a much needed little glimpse of warmth in this very cold movie, and I did like him quite a bit. And I guess I don't have a problem with it or anything.
No, I agree. I liked Scatman in this because he was really the only person who, other than his mother, who showed him love.
Mm-hmm.
He was really nice to Wendy as well. And he came back and tried to save both of them.
Yeah, and isn't that heartbreaking that we have so much time from him being in Florida, getting this inkling,
Yes.
calling in, going on a plane, getting a car, getting the snowcat, and then he walks in and is just axed.
I know.
He takes 2 steps in and he's just killed like that.
It was very
that's
upsetting.
rough, yeah.
It was very much like, oh, it's going to be a happy ending and like everything's going to be fine because he's coming to save the day and maybe there'll be a big battle scene,
Yeah.
but like it's not going to be heartbreaking. And then it's super heartbreaking because he's stabbed the moment he gets inside the hotel.
He doesn't even have a chance to try
No.
to save them.
No.
And that, I think, is a real Kubrick, like, fuck you and fuck your expectations. Like, I do what I want. If you think this is what's going to happen, you don't know what's coming. And in the novel, Scatman does save the day, and they all leave together.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then he's Danny's new dad?
I assume, yes.
Okay.
It's heavily implied. One thing that we never talked about, though, is the music. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I didn't find it super jarring, and I didn't feel like it took away from the movie. So I think that it worked really well with the movie. And I made a note in my notes that I liked the scary music anytime he can either hear people or he's getting an inkling that he's about to see someone.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that because it really set the tone for the scene.
Oh, it's funny because I thought since you didn't like it in Halloween that you'd think this was too much because it's a lot.
Mm-mm.
And it is jarring, but I think in a good way. Like it makes you feel all these things. It's so like unnerving at points. And it's a mix of the Wendy Carlos, and she worked with someone else too, another woman, that they did the music together.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of classical music as well used in it. But the Carlos stuff there's human voices in it. It's creepy because you can kind of hear it, but there's shrieking. So it's like the walls of this hotel are just screaming out in pain a lot of the time.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
But
And
I liked that.
I loved the very first shot we get. So the movie just starts, and it starts with that music, and it's the car driving in. I actually know where it is because I could recognize it. That's the Going to the Sun Road at Glacier National Park, one of my very favorite places.
Oh.
So I've driven through there so many times that I knew, like, that's not Colorado, that's Montana. But the music is like a funeral dirge, so it kind of sets you up with what's going to happen. You know that bad things are happening when you hear that music.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like that really puts you back. Like, even if there has been a whole bunch of, like, feel-good scenes, one right after another, and maybe you're kind of getting lulled into a false sense of security, like, everything might be okay, that music comes back on, and you're, like, instantly back in that moment where you're feeling anxious and scared.
Or every time there was a title that just said Wednesday, that
Yes.
music would be just, like, right in your face
Yeah.
and terrifying.
No, I really liked the music in this one.
And I know one of the songs, one of the classic pieces that's in it, it was written for the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And that kind of, I'm sure that plays into one of those many American violence things that I was talking about earlier. I don't know if we actually like outright said it, but I think what this movie's really about, like on a most basic level, is just like an abusive father, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's just everything is magnified because of the supernatural elements, because of this isolation that they establish. But that's really what it comes down to, I think. And going along with that, there's so many times when Danny tries to scream out and he just is silent.
Yeah.
And I loved that because it kind of goes along with like in this abusive family, the children are kind of like often silent and not heard, and he doesn't really have an outlet at all.
It's true. I liked that. And I definitely agree because I feel like there is things in this movie that are very much a direct mirror of what would happen in an abusive home. Like if you got rid of all the ghosts and the scary hotel and the past murder and everything, a lot of these things, it just breaks down to what would happen in a home that has abuse in it.
Yeah, and everything is just kind of amplified because of this setting.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So we established that you think there are ghosts,
Yes.
right? Do you think that he drank alcohol?
No, I don't think that was real.
Just ghost booze.
Just ghost booze, yeah.
Yeah. I think you're correct. Because I don't think they can just manifest alcohol into being. But I think that was more representative of him choosing to go back to his abusive past life.
Yeah, because he was on a quote-unquote good path, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was being better, and they were going to do this as a family, and then all of a sudden he gets sidetracked and goes back to the way that he was before he decided to make this change.
Mm-hmm. What about room 237? What do you think it is?
I think it's the room where the bodies were stacked up, because they said they stacked them up and locked the room, and he then went and killed himself. So I think that's the room where they found them.
Oh, do you think that's the mom, maybe?
I think so.
Huh. I never thought that. But that makes perfect sense.
I think that's the mom. I think maybe he left her in the bathtub or something. And I think that she's just haunting there because that's maybe all she knows.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer of what actually happened there. I didn't think it was that, but that makes perfect sense. I am not convinced room 237 exists at all. Like, maybe it just represents the worst in everyone. It's like a real dark place that they go to. Like, Danny goes in there and he comes out with bruises that kind of remind him of the abuse at the hands of his father. Then when Jack goes in there, it kind of sums up what happens to him throughout this story.
Yeah.
Like, first, he's completely seduced by what the hotel spirits have and what they show him, what they look like, just like he's seduced by this beautiful woman. And then as soon as he sees things for what they really are, it's too late because he's already like in their grasp. It's just like he's literally in her grasp and it's too late. He's already making out with this naked, rotting corpse. And it's too late. He's already given up and he's going to go on this path to try to kill his family.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is like the longest episode ever. I have more notes. I say we just skip them all and let's wrap it up.
Okay.
But to wrap it up, at the end of this movie, we zoom in on a picture and it's clearly Jack and it says July 4th ball 1921.
Yeah.
And he's in a photo. So what do you think happened in this ending?
I think that the hotel has absorbed him in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's not Charles Grady. I think that he is just another victim of the hotel that drove him mad, that he was kind of absorbed into the history of the hotel just based on that.
So do you think he was in this picture at the beginning of the movie?
No.
And then after he's kind of been won over by the spirits or after he dies, he gets absorbed in?
He gets absorbed in.
And do you think the next caretakers, he's going to be the one there telling them to...
Yeah.
I think that's very legitimate. I think that's what I think, but I don't even know.
You think that's what you think?
I don't know. That's what this movie does to me.
I think that's the mark of a good movie, though, is that if you really don't know and you have all these thoughts and you end up thinking about the movie for a really long time after, I think that's a good movie.
I think it kind of goes into what I was talking about the history of violence repeating itself. Mm-hmm. And he says he's always been the caretaker here. When he comes in for the first time, he says, like, oh, I feel like I've been here before. It's the strangest deja vu. I don't feel like Jack Torrance, has been to there before.
Right.
But I feel like he is just interchangeable with Charles Grady, with Delbert Grady, with any of these other people. And it is rooted in that violence that this hotel has. But it's just so much more. Like, maybe it's saying that the time here is fluid. Maybe he was there before. Maybe he's reincarnated. Maybe he was absorbed into the hotel.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's fun to think about.
It is. Good movie.
Good movie.
I loved it.
Me too.
You came back to I love it.
Well, I loved it the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure it's the greatest horror movie ever. It's definitely in the top 5.
Yes.
I think it probably is the greatest ever, but I'm less straight up convinced, and I feel like I have to go watch some of those other contenders.
Let's go watch some.
All right. I thought we were just going to watch The Shining again.
Backwards.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Whew. Well, that was quite the journey. Thanks for joining us while I rambled on, and Sam made good points.
Well, thank you for that. I hope you're still with us. If you are, good job.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear what you think, our listeners, what you think. So you can email us at ilovethisyoushouldand2@gmail.com. You can tweet or Instagram us at ILTYS and the number 2. And you can find us on Facebook at I Love This, You Should Too podcast. We
Yes.
want to hear all your theories and see all your Halloween costumes.
Oh, especially that.
Please send us pictures of your Halloween costumes and we'll repost them on Facebook and Instagram.
And if you are using not an Apple device, if you look at your album art for this, you'll see a fun little thing of us.
Oh, this is the first week where I'm not using an Apple phone.
Oh, so you'll be able to see it.
I'm going to get to see it.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a very sad incident with my Apple iPhone, so I'm an Android user for now.
You'll never go back. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Have a happy Spooktober and a happy Halloween. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Enjoy the rest of your time while you are awake. That was weird. Okay. Let's try it again.
Do you want me to say goodbye?
You say goodbye.